Evening all, welcome back to Space Engineers. Right, the final fit of the mighty flagship SquadB is in process. Now, this has been an absolute joy to do, and from the last video, it's probably changed quite a lot already. So let me explain what we've done. We've included windows because, lol, they should have windows. But I think this to me was, I think, a labour of love. Particularly for the internals. I think the outside is it's not great, but I think what this was really an experiment with was how easily can we create an internal ship that looks pretty sweet. And I think I was right, the one block high deck works perfectly fine. So I think if you're going to build a ship, internals, you can get away with one block high decks. It works perfectly fine. So that hopefully means that you can have quite a big multi-decked ship and so on. So I would probably call this a cruiser now. I think it's got into the kind of size of a cruiser. It's left frigate and it's now definitely a cruiser, but that's kind of what I wanted to do with it anyway. I think it was always going to be something quite big-ish. And I think what I'm going to do is spend some time over the next few weeks turning this into a battleship. That is my kind of thought. Currently, there's no guns in the game that work on large ships, but they will be coming soon, I'm sure. And I think one of the things I'm really keen to put in here is a really working kind of space. And also, when you look at the engineering deck, you see this has changed. We've used lots of gantries, things like that, and the bridge is coming on really well as well. But look at that, isn't that pretty? Sun looks pretty sweet. And our bridge is certainly coming on. So let me show you what we're going to do here. We're going to actually open up the bridge a bit more as well, because the windows aren't bad. I mean, I know that it's kind of stupid to have windows on a battleship anyway, but to be honest, I like it. I wanted it, so I thought I might as well do it. So there we go, look at that. Doesn't that open it up lovely? That's just amazing. So with the sun streaming in, our bridge starts to take form. Just need to remove some of these consoles, but there we go. So you will find that this game becomes just a massive labour of love, and there's loads of things, loads of blocks, loads of choices. What we did with the engineering deck I was particularly proud of, as you'll see here, is we've got multiple layers. We've got gantries forming kind of sub gantries. We've got our reactor cores now able to be got to. And we have we have a living deck here that's completely open and ready to be used as well. Not really done much with this one yet. Going to put some windows in though, but I'm tempted to maybe put some internal walls in as well. I think they just look so good. Look at that! Isn't the lighting wonderful in this game? I just think it's so cool. And yes, that's a light reflection that you just saw on the. And we'll show you that in just a bit more depth in just a moment. But really, this game just becomes this massive kind of train set. It literally is Minecraft. I mean, I know I keep saying it, but I think there's very few games. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's just amazing. There's very few games that capture the Minecraft spirit as well as I think this game has done. And I think, it's just so cool. I hope you agree. And look at that. So, with Windows, it kind of, again, loses a bit of reality, but I think, to be honest, I don't mind. It just feels so much better with Windows. But I've not done too much with this mid deck yet, and I'm not too happy with that. But as you can see on the lower deck, look, that's looking pretty sweet, isn't it? Now, I've lost my refinery, so obviously I've used the mirrored planes incorrectly. I shouldn't have done that, so I need to fix that. And actually at this moment I've not realized I've done that, so it's going to take me a minute to figure that out. But I did want a refining deck, so we've got cargo there, we've got, I mean, again, it gives me an opportunity to maybe move this refinery out of the way a little bit as well, so I'm just going to do that. And I think, I need to move that light, but I did want a fully operating kind of ship. Now, I know that when the game comes in proper, this ship will probably be gone, so I'll be a bit gutted, but hopefully not. If it doesn't, then I'm going to use this ship as my base, because it just has everything. It's got the ability to refine, it's got the ability to kind of build stuff as well. The assembler is all there. All I need to do is give it good armor skin. At the moment, the armor is a light armor block, which isn't much good against incoming fire. So eventually that'll be a whole retrofit that I'll have to do at some point. But the internals, again, it's all about learning the craft of the game. And I've got to admit that one of the things that I've really learned with this game is how to build the internals now, and I think that was the hardest bit. Everything else, building a flying wedge is easy. That's easy to do, but to make it credible inside That is the difficult bit, and I think that's what I feel I've done with this ship now, is I've kind of learned how to make the internals work quite well. Multiple decks, multiple open spaces, sectioned off rooms, because again, if you have crew, you're going to have to give them somewhere to live. So, you know, bear that in mind. That's going to be an interesting one. But you know, at the end of the day, I think it's really going to come down to what type of game does this become. Is it going to be an open world kind of leveled shooter like DayZ? So it could be multiple servers, you log on, you fight, you play, you trade, you mine, you build. Or is it going to be more like Minecraft, where it'll just be a world and then you play with your friends? I mean, either way, I think I'm happy. I think I quite like both models, to be honest. Both of them work quite well to me. I think the majority of the game is going to be in the building as well. So you're going to spend most of your time building things. I think that's going to be actually what you end up, you know, doing. To be honest, I don't know what the future of this game is going to be, because it's still very unclear really what the mechanics of that kind of construction process will be. I mean, obviously we've seen you have to, you know, mine, you turn those minerals into I guess refined materials, you then turn them into, you know, base structures, and then those base structures get turned into finished blocks and equipment. And I love that. I can't wait to try that. That to me is the one bit that's now missing from this game that we desperately need, and I just can't wait for it. So as we come into our engineering deck, again, I like exposed open engineering decks. They really work for me, and it's at this point that I realise that I've been using the mirror tool, so all of my my buildings are wrong. But hey ho, it's easily fixable. We're just going to turn the symmetry off. So you see there you go, you've got 3 windows in a row. That looks kind of stupid. So we're just going to make sure we turn that off, and we'll sort these windows out. But again, very therapeutic game. I think there's very few games out there that give you this kind of feeling of you know, construction. I had a very strange feeling. I was sat playing Dust, and part of me was absolutely yearning to play this game, which is quite unusual. Usually I don't have that yearning. I enjoy playing Dust, but then all of a sudden, you know, I'm just sat there thinking, oh, do you know what? I really want to do this. I want to sit and put windows on my spaceship. I want to put a little cabbage garden in the back. I don't know, weird feeling, but I tell you what, it was good. You know, that's a nice. It meant that I was getting immersed in a game, and when you get immersed in a game, that's a very nice feeling. I think you know, you can be ultimately rewarded for your passion in the game, and that's pretty awesome. I don't know, it would say that, you know, oh, look, let me show you. So as we come up to the top, so there's now a walking up area into the, I guess, the externals of the ships. Let's go and have a look at the mighty SS SquadB. I know the windows aren't perfect. We'll fix that. We'll make it all symmetrical, but you know, it's looking pretty sweet. And again, I love the lighting mechanics are fantastic. But just imagine this. Imagine, like, you know, fighting, and I mean that gives it perspective, doesn't it? That really does start to realize that you're building a mega structure in space. Let me show you the hangar deck. Now, I haven't shown this, I think, yet, but that hangar deck there, I'm just going to put some windows on this one as well. I'll put some slanted ones, but that hangar deck worked perfectly. But if you're going to latch on fighters to your deck, use at least 3 clamps, because otherwise I was, you know, booting it along at 100 MPS, and all of a sudden my mining little frigate completely wrenched free and ripped out half of the front of the ship. So very annoying. So you know, it didn't take long to repair, but it's just quite funny to think that it did that. But I think, yeah, it's a tricky one to kind of judge where to use certain things, but I think when you look at the game and kind of look at that lighting, isn't the lighting wonderful? And you do get the impression of you know, different angles as well. So as you kind of look around the various angles, it starts to become you know, quite interesting. But anyway, so I think we're almost nearing completion of the basic first build of this. We will keep building it. I mean, I think already I want to extend the rear section more so, but at the moment I'm not too sure what to put on it. I mean, post in the comments. I was going to maybe put like a proper, you know, almost like Thunderbird 2, so it might be something that actually detaches and then flies off, you know, something quite big. But I'm not too sure yet. We'll see. But I think, again, hopefully I'm showing the labour of love this thing becomes as we enter our wonderful, wonderful hangar deck. Notice no gravity until you get to at least the middle of the thing. That's by design. That was actually done by design, because I like the idea of there being no gravity. there. But again, we've managed to secure one ship to the floor, but the mining drone is long gone. As I decelerated, it shot out the front of it like some kind of cannon, and it just flew off so fast I didn't have the time to go get it. So, you know, RIP mining drone. So as we wander through the lower decks, we see that our lovely, isn't that pretty? That's amazing, isn't it? And then the shadows are looking pretty awesome as well. We'll show that in just a bit more in a moment, but this is coming along rather well. So our engineering base deck is where we can then have many, oops, now there's still a few bugs like that. I still fall down between the decks. So that's because the reactors are so big and I need a bit of work on them. But as you can see, it's all coming together quite nicely. Then we have our rear door out to the back here. And this is, if we're going to extend the ship, this is where we'll do it. I haven't done it yet though, but that will be where we eventually extend into. But I like our kind of engineering core there. And you see there's like 3 decks. Is it 3? Maybe 4 actually. Our mid decks here are not really being used yet, so I'm going to have to think about what we do with these. Not entirely sure what the plan is for these, but we'll figure that out. I just realised I must have removed a door there. Let me just put that door back in. So clink, and there we go. And again, the labour of love this becomes is quite exceptional. Again, I would stress that there is something quite unique about this game as well, given that you can do so much with it. I think you also then start to really test. So for example, the gantries, look at the gantries there. They were, you know, they took a lot of effort to figure out. But once I figured them out, actually they become very useful because you can make a single plated gantry around a larger space. So I was quite impressed. I'm not sure what I'm doing there. Okay, now I'm just replacing the ceiling, I think. Yeah, let's just get that looking better. The internal blocks do look good. I hope you agree. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? There we go. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? And again, as the ship rotates, one pilot could be flying it. The others could be on the guns. This is the bridge that I really wanted. I'm really glad that this bridge has come to fruition. Because to be honest, isn't that incredible? Look at the sun. That to me captured me because it's like, yeah, this is feeling like a sci-fi thing now. Yeah, this is feeling good, and I was really quite stunned. And then as you see, we have our deck that looks over the fighter deck as well. So you know, that's it pretty much. And I thought the last thing to do was to start to include some of the internals like turrets. I quite like the idea of there being like turrets just hanging there. It's very Warhammer 40k, I know, but I just thought I like the idea of there being these kind of turrets that just sit there and watch. Because eventually you will need to have this kind of, you know, defense system for the bridge and other areas. But you know, this is I think the part of the game that I really cannot wait for, and I hope it doesn't take too much longer to come, because already I'm you know, really shaking with anticipation as to what the next step of this game will be. I think certainly the construction piece is looking good. But there we go, that's our mighty flagship as it stands. I know it's small, I know it's not the best, I know it's pretty ugly, but the fact is it's a proper working ship with internal space, so I'm loving it. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.